Welcome to Elite Podcasts with your host, Mighty RX.
Welcome, I'm Mighty RX, better known as Max Paul, owner of the three-time SFL champion, Toros. Back with season two of Elite Podcast, hoping to make it bigger, better, and bolder than ever before. These following conversations are going to have with various members of this SFL community, and I'm hoping it illuminates and gives you insight as to why certain decisions are made both on and off the field, and also in the front offices. So sit back and enjoy. Welcome for another banger of an episode of the Elite Podcast. And today, or should I say tonight, because it's kind of late when we're recording this, we are blessed to be in the company of three awesome men that are leading the Fort Worth Toros into the future. We have minority owner Robert Garrett Jr. Robert, throw up a deuce sign, a wave, or peace, whatever you want to do. Let people know who you are.
I give a horns up, I suppose.
There we go. That's the
only time you can use it.
Secondarily, we have co-owner Luis Not Nacho Gonzalez. Luis, what's good, player? What's good?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? Need to throw up the horns as well.
Go ahead, rep the state, baby. And lastly, but definitely not least, we have Steven Statman Hacker. Hacker, what's popping, baby?
I'm just glad to be here. Had a great Saturday, and now excited to be here sitting with you and answer some questions. I'll throw up the horns as well. Hey, guys.
Yeah. Oh, you hate that.
hey, Notre Dame beat UT in the college baseball, the tournament there. So I got one. Nobody cares. College baseball, who cares, right? But I'll take a Notre Dame win where I can get it. So
if you want to talk about that, Texas won 3 national championships this year, but obviously none in football, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So gentlemen, now all of you reside within the state of Texas. Am I correct? No, nope. I am not correct. Okay, I am wrong from the jump. Let's get to it. So Robert, where you at? You're not in Texas?
No, I am smack dab in the middle of Columbus, Ohio.
You are nowhere near Texas, sir. No. That is correct. Okay, and Hacker, you're not in Texas?
I am in Texas. I am in Fort Worth, Texas, born and bred. This is my home.
I know Lewis is in Texas because he looks Texan. So that's okay. Okay, so we're good. So
oh yeah, I'm from Fort Worth. I've been bred here. I wasn't born here, but bred here in Fort Worth.
Okay, that's what's up. So wow, Lewis, since you're last to speak, I'm gonna ask you this question: what made you get in? I won't say involved. What piqued your interest to even want to be part of this league?
Well, honestly, I mean, whenever we first started out, Hacker was the one that got me into the league. Hacker found it on YouTube, and we kind of just grew from there. And we were hooked from the start. And then we came into the league wanting to become owners day one. That was our goal. That was our path. I became a GM with Queen City, and kind of he took a little bit of different path, and I'm sure he'll tell you all about that. But whenever I came through Queen City, I was kind of Eric's right-hand man from the start, and kind of just grew from there. And yeah, I mean, the whole league just came about whenever Hacker found it on YouTube, and we hit the ground running.
So what season was that, Lewis? That y'all
season 10. Season 10, I believe.
Season 10. That feels like
we were watching the season 9 championship. Yeah, we were watching Ray Bentley. I think that was whenever he was really exploding.
Yeah, running through everybody.
Correct. Yeah, and it was blowing up the chat. Like he does in Gen Chat, but it was on Twitch and stuff like that. And while we were in there, we were watching the game at Lewis's house, and I was like, hey, let's talk to them. Like, let's get involved. So I was on my phone. Lewis was on his computer, and we got a chat shout out, and then Bentley was just ribbing us the whole time, and telling us how great the league was. And I immediately bought into it. Like, I loved the fact that the game was live. Everybody was watching at the same time, watching the same thing and celebrating the same moments. And then for the the main man on the field. You know, for Ray Bentley to be talking to us was really big for me. Like I was hooked immediately, and then, you know, the announcers gave us a chat shout out, which was really cool. And you know, the rest was kind of history. You know, we really liked what it was about. We you know, it wasn't until getting in we really realized like how big of an impact you could have on people here. And I think that our first game we ever watched, that was emphasized to us, like made us feel nice, but we didn't realize how we could get in here and like we have an impact on other people's day and their lives. And so like it's just been like this huge growth process. And for me, it was exactly what I wanted it to be. It's been nothing but what I want it to be. Now there's stress and drama and stuff, but that's life, you know. But for the most part, everybody that I've met here, I've really enjoyed talking with them, getting to know them, and just being a part of that culture of trying to make somebody's day better, right? And get away from the stress of real life and just having this moment, having this hobby or this sport or whatever you want to call it, you know, just having this thing that we all have, that we all love so much. I think that hit me the moment I watched. It was just like, I'm bought into this.
Nice. And Robert, how about yourself? What caught your eye, man, and said, you know what, the SFL, that's for me.
Yeah, so at first, the way I found the league was just I'm real big into, you know, like the general manager games and building your football team, trading and whatnot. And so I was actually just browsing on Google trying to find something, a new game I could look at buying. And I came across the website for the league, and I was looking at it and trying to figure out what it was. Couldn't quite tell, so I went to the Discord and kind of things got rolling. And so I ended up joining week 3 or 4 with Sioux Falls. Actually, when I came in, I had thought I was going to go defense of some sort, linebacker, defensive end, because I love the defensive side of the ball, but I wanted to get going, wanted to see how this thing was and, you know, hear your name. And Sioux Falls posted they were looking for a tight end. So I jumped in, got kind of busy with, I coached middle school football for a while. So I got kind of busy with that. Wasn't super involved season 13. Tried to rally around the locker room and whatnot. But at the end, I kind of felt that the locker room wasn't what I was looking for personally. And so decided to move on. Season 14, I ended up working with London and social media and whatnot, and doing all the schedule release show. That's when I started to really get involved with broadcast and things like that. I ended up meeting Hacker through, I think, the draft show for season 14. And that's where things kind of really hit the ground running. And season 15 came along.
You're a season ahead. It was because we got our team in season 14, so we would have been
15.
We got
was
it
it 15?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
there
15
we
That
go.
our
doesn't
first
sound
season.
right.
Yeah.
Stack, man, you're supposed to know all the numbers.
I'm not wearing my shirt, but we got the South champs.
I'm trying to count it back to like
It was the 7-round draft, season 15.
Oh, I guess that is right.
Yeah, we started
Wow.
season 15, man.
Yeah, I keep thinking it's 14, so apparently you can't trust my math.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous right there.
You know,
So-
technically stats is Mark's department. Technically,
Okay.
I'm more game day ops. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, yeah.
Okay.
So I want to get the
Fair
math
enough.
off of my title because I am
Fair
a
enough.
horrible mathematician. Horrible.
Fair enough. We won't hold it against you. So let's speak of that season, right? So 14's wrapping up. Expansion is about to be underway. Y'all decide to throw your hat in the ring. Why Fort Worth? Why the Toros?
Well, I mean, we started Fort Worth because that's where we're from. Me and Hacker are bred in Fort Worth, so we're diehard Fort Worthians, I guess is what you would call us. But whenever it comes to, you know, the Toros brand, we wanted to do something that's a mixture of both of us, but also keep it Texas. So, you know, whenever it comes to a bull, obviously Texas is a cow state, or you want to consider it as a steer. It's a steer state. Fort Worth, it's known as Cowtown. So a lot of things like that just seem to make sense to have a bull. And then we wanted to put a twist, since I am Mexican. We wanted to put a twist to it whenever it comes to the bulls. It's not necessarily, it doesn't roll off the tongue very, very well. So we went with Toros. And then our colors, we wanted to, Hacker mentioned Notre Dame a little while ago, and we wanted to kind of make it ours. So we chose a lot of the blue and gold and things like that. That way we kind of, it's both of ours. It's not just, me picking the colors, the logo area, etc. It's us. And we've always been that way whenever it comes to different things. We ran a fantasy football league for the past, I want to say 11 years now. I don't even know exactly how many years we've been doing it, but we've been doing
not as Hacker. You might not remember either. So
yeah, exactly.
I know we were doing it while we were in high school. So that's been more than 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, shoot. Yeah. I mean, I've been out of high school for 17 years now.
Oh,
so yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's up there now. So we went that route with it, and we tried to make it our own, and we wanted it to represent Texas. We wanted it to represent Fort Worth. So we went to the expansion, and luckily enough, I'm hoping you voted for us, and other owners did vote for us.
I don't even remember, so don't ask. I don't remember.
No, we won't hold it against you.
And I remember, like the criteria seems to always change, since we just kind of got off an expansion. It seemed like there was a different focus whenever we applied versus now that, because DC got a team in LA after us. And then now this most recent expansion with 4, even for the DC and LA expansion, which was basically right behind us, I think that they were still like asking for different things, even though there was such a short window there. So that's been really fun for me to kind of see that side of that. But, I wanted to add on to some of what Lewis was saying there. We had some other brand ideas that we wanted to pursue as well. Like we were trying really hard to make purple, black, and silver a thing. The city of Fort Worth has an area that's called Panther Island.
Okay.
And Panther Island goes really deep into into the history of Fort Worth, but we tried really hard to incorporate Panther into what we were doing, and we felt like black, purple, and gold, and silver really worked well, but we couldn't really get behind it in the same way. We didn't think people would understand Panther Island. Why are we going with Fort Worth Panthers? We didn't think people would be willing to look into it. I think Fort Worth kind of has a rodeo feel to it. So when it's a bull or a toro, it feels more natural. There's not as many dots to connect.
Yes.
That
less
Panther
questions.
Island.
A lot less questions. Yeah.
Yes. So the Panther thing is a really, really, it's like kind of a not necessarily a quiet story, but it's just something that, if you live in Fort Worth, you see panthers kind of everywhere. Not the animal panther. It's something that's on the police badges. It's something that's on buildings. And so it's kind of a very local thing that meant something to us, but maybe not to a wide audience. So we really went with the bulls, and we tried so hard, red and black. We tried all these things, and none of it felt right. And then we kind of just, much in like, Nacho, the Lewis's player name, we just kind of stumbled across it, just him and I back and forth and stuff. Right. And, it wasn't him that said, oh, let's get, Hispanic or Latino culture involved. It was more me. I'm like, hey, we have a really good opportunity here that it's not off base for us to reference this culture. And from there, I'm like, because I didn't know, I'm like, what is bull in Spanish? Toro. And I'm like, I love it. Let's go with that, because that's awesome to me. Like I thought it rolls off the tongue better than Fort Worth Bulls.
Arriba! Yes, I got you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we just, again, we kind of just worked at it. Our bid, when we were preparing it, it wasn't something that was just like an overnight thing for us. Again, we joined the league with the intention of becoming owners. And so we were asking questions about that. And I think I might have rubbed Eric, the owner of Queen City, I might have rubbed him a little bit the wrong way when I first joined his locker room, because the first thing I said is, hey, thanks. I'm going to use this opportunity to get my own team. And I think that again, this is 3-4 years ago, owners weren't used to those kinds of conversations. And so like, I was like very direct with him. Like, this is what I want. I thank you for an opportunity, but as soon as I get a chance, I'm gone. And it's just, we always kind of work into these things and kind of bounce things off each other. And Lewis is such a great teammate, friend, all of the above. So, with him, it was really easy that we just kind of stumble into things. I don't ever feel like he's going to completely tear me apart when I have a bad idea, because I have a ton of bad ideas. And so, Lewis is always very patient with me because I'm an idea guy. I thrive on like, let me be creative, let me create something. And Lewis is like, all right, are you thinking about the work? Are you overcommitting yourself? So like, he's really we're yin and yang on a lot of that we do, but I really appreciate the counter to a lot of what I do, because if it wasn't for all the hard work that he does and all the stuff that he puts in, I would sometimes be lost, because I would get wrapped up in stuff and trying to create something. Whereas he's like, hey, we don't got time for that. Scrap it, work on it in the off season. We got this. And I'm like, cool, I got it. I understand. Like, I'm off my own little world. I need to be focused on us. And so
he likes to shoot for the stars, and he lands on the moon a lot. He does land on the moon a lot. That's the good thing. He does land on the moon.
It's good though. It's good. It's the one of the reasons. Okay, that's one of the reasons why I have this particular podcast in the off season. So that way, while it's a midst of downtime, there's no game planning necessary. There's no having to watch 6, 10, 12 games worth. You know what I'm saying? Worth of info, and then you got that crunch. You get the playbook in. I try to get at people when they're in their downtime. So what you're espousing is exactly that, because I've had mid-season, I've had a million ideas as well, and trying to implement them, and then try to do a podcast in season, talk about the season while being the OC, DC, GM. Like, bro, like it's too much. So I fully get what you're saying, and I'm behind Lewis 100%. Suave. Slow down, amigo. Okay, slow down.
Oh, we're definitely at a point with the league where you just can't do it all by yourself. You just really can't. I mean, back in the day, you really could. I mean, it wasn't really that big a deal. You had 11 players. Now we got 23, and to keep a locker room happy, it's working itself just to do that, and add coaching, add GM, add everything else that you have to end up doing. League stuff, hackers and league staff. We try to make sure that he balances all that out, and I take care of a lot of the team stuff. But hacker, he makes sure that we're headed in the right direction. He's I'm driving, and hacker's making sure I'm going in the right direction. So
that's dope. So Robert, I'm gonna get at you because I need you to break down for me the hierarchy in Fort Worth. Now we know y'all sit at top, right? Because y'all it. So who comes under you? Who does what, right? Like, who's your head coach, your GM, your DOC? If you got a stats guy, we got a stats guy. The Stormy's also our DOC. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what does the hierarchy look like for Fort Worth?
So our head coach this season is actually kind of a combination of Hacker and Nacho. They're working together on the
okay.
Coaches. Our general manager is Aaron Alexander. He's coming into his second off season as our general manager. Assistant general manager along with him is Jason Williams.
Okay, J-Dub, that's what's up.
He's stepping back from coaching a little bit, but going to continue to help out in the front office for us. DOC right now, we don't have anybody. Aiden Davis is helping with social media, but not a director of communication or anything like that. And then other than that, I know Delaney Nash writes articles for us.
Nice.
For Swamp Talk. He does all those write-ups. And a handful of stats guys. Hacker might have to help me out here. I know.
I carry a lot of that weight. JL, you. So JL Browning does stats for us. Okay. Robert does stats for us. Delaney Nash will do stats for us.
Jerry D gone.
Jerry D. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I typically will take that on myself. Just I don't like the thought of the team having to, and they don't have to. It's a kind of a free.
Yeah.
You can sign up for whatever game you want, kind of thing. But typically, I would like my players, the players on the team, to be able to watch the game. I understand that stats is a volunteer kind of thing, so I'm already here anyways. So let me do it. That's kind of how I approach it. If I need help, or if I'm going to be unavailable, then I will reach out to the others that have volunteered to supplement me if I'm not available. But the goal ultimately is to not have to have them do that work. I really get a lot of passion out of the production side of the SFL, being a part of the games, listening to the broadcasts, being a broadcaster, or being a statistician, or just kind of watching along with what Cam's doing. I like that. And so I don't want to make somebody else who maybe doesn't like it have to be there. But, I think that Delaney, JL, JRD, they're all great examples of like contributors, team players that they understand that I'm not trying to put burden on them. But if I'm calling, hey, help, then they answer the call. You know what I mean? And I don't abuse that lifeline. You know what I mean? Like they see that I'm going to put the work in. But if I'm calling them and asking them for help, it's because I need it. And they're all great team players about it. They'll step in and do what they got to do to help us out.
And I want to elaborate a little bit on what Robert was going with and what he does for us. He is just a minority owner.
That's right. Just
whenever it comes to all that, we bounce off of him. Me and Hacker, we do well with each other. And honestly, whenever we went to the convention in Houston, that was our biggest. I guess because me and Hacker had talked about it beforehand, giving Robert a minority. We didn't sell him anything. We didn't do anything like that. But once we kind of, I guess, interacted with him more. Hacker interacted with him because Robert came into Fort Worth. What was that, in 2020?
The year before.
Yeah, so Hacker and him got to hang out and do all kinds of stuff together, and they went out, partied, went on the boat, had a great time. I ended up catching COVID that week. Yeah, sorry.
Come on over. Come on over.
We'll
come on over.
Out,
Open
man.
invite. Come on over.
Lewis bailed on us.
I ain't bailed. I ended up catching COVID at that point.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
I couldn't go out during that time. I was fine, but I just couldn't go out. But, we like to have him in the room so we can it's just another person, you know what I mean? And we respect his opinion. We make sure that anything that he says is part of our decision making. Whenever it comes to the voting and everything like that as well, whenever obviously, the rules have changed whenever it comes to season per season, I guess is what it is. Every season we vote on owners meetings. We're not doing that now, but either way, we have him being our third guy. I think it helps out a lot. I don't foresee us really having a room like St. Louis had or LA has right now, where we have a ton of owners.
You're not
all
going to have 15
room.
minority owners? That's what
I don't think we want to go that route. But we with Robert being there, we definitely respect his opinion, and we like having that third eye, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. It gives you more a well-rounded view, right? Because you have certain things you look at from a certain lens. Hacker got certain things he looks at from certain lens, and Robert, but look, and look at what?
Oh yeah,
but look.
He definitely brings that up, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
we definitely need to think about that.
So, and he's put all the work in. And to his credit, he's earned all of that. He has earned every bit of a voice in our discussions. It's not something that we wanted to hand to him. In our culture, in our locker room, nothing is given. We don't give positions, titles. We don't give stuff. It's earned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
you come in here, we'll definitely give it to you. You just have to earn it for sure.
You have to earn it. Put the work in. Show that you're going to, be consistent. Show that you understand what's happening around you. That you can work with others. And the position, we're going to hand that. We will give it whenever it's due. But it's not something that we don't typically like to just hand a role to someone. We want to make sure that they know how to operate, that they can communicate with us, because interviews and stuff like that, it's really easy, in my opinion, to say the right things, right? But it's whenever you're sweating, pressure's on, high intensity moments that you may not have gotten to see that interview. It's hard to create that in an interview. And we've done some psychology testing, you know, and not that we're any psychologists, not that we're great at it, but we'll do good cop, bad cop on people. You know, we'll do all kinds of stuff to try to get a better understanding of who's on the other end of the screen, you know. And so we try to do things, and, you know, we've had some negative experiences with it, but we've also had some really good experiences that showed us stuff. And so, you know, Robert is somebody that's really put his nose to the grindstone, has done a lot of work, probably the most popular player on our team in the community, somebody that, you know, has a really good reputation. So we're extremely happy that, you know, he took our brand seriously. You know, we were worried Carolina, you know, Harish and Robert have a really, really great relationship. And for a couple of seasons before we offered him, you know, the ownership spot, I felt like he was going to go. And I mean, Lewis will tell you, I was like, he's going to go. Him and Harish are way too cool. Like we're not doing enough to, you know, capture his vision. And so you know, we were, that was like our biggest thing. Is like, he's our most popular player. He does so much work for us. We can't let Carolina go take him. And that had nothing to do with giving him an ownership role. It was like, how do we cultivate this, like, to where he believes in what we're doing? And the way we did that a lot, and I think Robert will tell you, is, you know, we were honest with them. We never told them something that we weren't going to do. And then we started including him. And I think that over time, like, of course we had to tell him, hey, you know, we don't want you to go to Carolina. Don't go there. You may
don't leave, baby. Don't leave.
You may like it over there, but you may not. You know, the grass isn't always greener, you know? And so it's like, you and Harish had this great thing. Why put the potential of spoiling it, right? Y'all get on the same team, and now maybe something, y'all clash on something. Now all of a sudden this relationship that you had. So it wasn't to try to steer him away. It was just try to say, hey, you know, make sure that this is really what you want, because you know what it is here. You know what we're offering you. You know what you're getting here. Now, if that's not enough for you, sure, I understand, but really, 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 really think about this. And I'm glad that he did. I'm you know, Robert's one of my dudes in this league, you know, and a lot of my dudes are on the team here, but I think they're here because they trust us. And I think Robert understands that too, is like, you get more out of people when they trust you, instead of like yelling at them or barking at them or trying to scare people. Like, love overcomes hate every time. And Robert really does a great job at that.
So what I've gotten from the last 10 minutes of conversation is that if you go to Fort Worth, they're going to put you to work. That's all I heard, right? But if you do the work, you will get extolled upon like no one's business. Like Robert just got showered with compliments. How you feel, Robert? Talk to me, big boy. How you feeling? Huh?
It gets going when you get started. It happens. Just go watch our Reshining show. I think you'll understand.
So that's cool. Now, question. It's a two-part question, actually. It's they're not related. They just came up as you were speaking. Hacker, you're on broadcast. Robert, you're on broadcast. The first episode of season 2 of the Elite, we had a bunch of Hall of Fame broadcasters, Hall of Fame owners that broadcast as well. So what is your, I won't say thought process, but more like preparation process throughout the week leading into a broadcast to kind of get you prepared? What are you looking at? You have a macro view, a micro view, or whatever other detail that you might be paying attention to kind of get you prepared that you want to accentuate on when the game is going. Let's go with Robert.
For me, because I had the chance to coach middle school football and really, you know, have to understand and learn the fundamentals of the game. One thing that I've always tried to do as a color commentator, especially, is try to bring a sense of realism into the game. Explain why the guy moved the way that he did to get out of the way of the defense. But also I feel that statistics are a big thing to hang on, especially, you know, big name players and guys near accolades, just to have something to look at and say, oh, you know, this guy's got 400 passing touchdowns in his career, and major things like that. It's always huge. Preparation wise, I have this massive sheet. It's definitely more information than I actually need. It was given to me by Gerald Giudice originally. It's a sheet that he also uses, and it's incredible. You're able to put the rosters side by side and everything that you might need to know in one little spot. just so that your eyes can shoot over quick to it and then get right back to the action.
Like a spotting chart, right?
Yeah.
So that, Hacker, how about yourself? What's your prep look like and during the game? Is there some specific that you're looking into or towards? And how do you select that to be that specific thing?
My preparation is generally, I like to look at upcoming milestones. That's typically like the one that I'm really looking at.
Okay.
But to kind of cue off for Robert, Mike Daggs has done a really great job with our broadcast research sheet that basically compiles a whole bunch of data that we don't even have to do that work anymore, which a couple of seasons ago, it wasn't the case. So, shout out Mike Daggs for doing great work in the broadcast department. But I like to look at that, see records. So I try to look for trends. I look for things that they're 3-0 all time at home, and they've played 7 times. And so, or if teams are winning at home every time they play, I just kind of I try to look for nuggets. I try to look for little highlight moment things that you can just kind of throw into a broadcast, because there's so many broadcasters that do such a great job at that specifically, that I felt like I needed to incorporate that into my what I do. What I focus on in a game, what I have found works best for me is to call the game as it happens. Whenever I try to make a story, it never works. Okay. It comes off fake. It comes off not. When I just call it like I see it, it's a much better. It's a better response from the audience. I get more compliments. Hey, you did much better this game. Whenever I focus on just what's happening play to play, when I'm trying to create, because I think that I don't think well enough. I don't think fast enough, So when I just kind of let the play happen, it's more organic, it's more natural. And I think that it's easier to swallow whenever I go at it from that approach. If I try to overload on things, the message gets lost.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Again, I ask these questions to kind of, the listeners or viewers that want to get involved in broadcasting or whatnot, so kind of see and understand what they're gonna get involved with and how to get themselves prepared, and that there are many different ways to skin a cat. I don't know why we're skinning cats, but it's a thing. So, now the second question I had is more broad view, right? When I think of Fort Worth, I think defense. I think these boys are gonna pack a lunch pail, bring your hard hat, your steel-toed boots. You're not just gonna walk on the field and drop 50 on Fort Worth. That's when I see Fort Worth, this is what I think of, right? So now I don't know if the rest of the league looks at it that way. I don't know if you view yourself as we're a defensive team. That's what we hang our hat on. We need to make sure that, the other sides of the ball kind of bring theirs so we could compete on a usual level. So having said all that, what kind of team would y'all like to be either known as, or for at least for this upcoming season? I'm not really talking about strategy, like, oh yeah, we're going to come out and we're going to have 4-star wide receivers and no star. Now I'm not talking about strategy like that, but more like the general idea of how you want your team to be represented this coming season. Like, how do you want it? I don't know how to. I'm usually not one to be short on words, but I don't know how to formulate this properly. But just, Louis, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, and you're totally right. Whenever it comes to our defense, we definitely we definitely hang our hat on defense. We've always been that way. This previous season was our first season where we actually gave up a ton of yards, gave up a ton of points. In season 15, I think we were on track to set the record for the least points scored, or least points allowed, or whatever, however you want to categorize it. So yeah, I mean, we definitely hang our hat on defense, and we definitely want to make sure that our I guess without giving up too much, is make sure our offense is definitely churning up and down the field. But the defense is definitely where we're at.
So I wasn't going crazy. It wasn't just okay. Very good.
And hopefully other people do feel that way because I mean the stats are there. The stats don't lie. You know, once you start looking at team defense, we're always at the top. We're always top 5, except for last season. Last season we did kind of take a step back, but
we tried some new things too.
Yeah,
right?
we were trying.
Yeah, we a couple of games last seasons. We tried a couple of things, and you know, fortune favors the bold. Unfortunately for us, we had some blow up. You know, we had some things that didn't work out so well for us. But
no. I get that well, and that's why my biggest saying, at least when it comes to coaching, is put it on the field, right? Any idea you have, any what's that word? Any theory you have, there you go, this word. Any theory you have, prove it, right? Put on the field, go to practice mode and run that thing into the ground. And if it works in practice mode, throw it in a sim and run that thing into the ground. And then once those two prove to be true, then put it up against SFL acumen. And then if it works, guess what? You can run with that.
That's the kicker right there. Once you, I mean, you can sim all you want, you can put it on the practice field, you can do all that, and it comes out perfect for you. But as soon as you go against that one team that knows what they're doing, going up against Max Paul, and you're just like, what was I thinking? You know, but you live and learn for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'll say this. Been here since season 7, at least as a coach, since season 6 as a player. Bro, I'm still learning. That's wild.
Yeah. You know what trips me out about that? Sorry. I was watching the Eddie Gage's show, and Ramos saying that he sims 3 to 4 games a week. Like, we're over here 25 plus, and we're struggling.
That's my Tuesday.
Yeah, that's like 3 days worth, and we're just like, man, how does he do that? But that like you're saying, we're still learning. We're still learning.
And that's it, bro. And Ramos is somewhere else because like I said, if you haven't watched that episode, that first episode of season 2, you need to, because I even called him out then. Ramos watches the game and literally will tell, like, he'll spill your entire playbook out during the broadcast. And like, Ramos, why are you giving the whole league the playbook? Like, come on, now, can you just say they went deep? Don't say, oh, they're in gun quads and that's Flash and ZD post there, right? Like, nobody needs to know all that information, Ramos. I'm good. So, you know, with that kind of knowledge that he has to be able to diagnose on the fly, right? So I can understand why, if that is the case, why it's possible. Like, because Ramos, man, like, you got to realize, a handful of us old guys came up all under TJ in his play league, his PvP league, and CAG, and Ramos was a pain in the butt. Eddie Gage was a pain in the butt. TJ. like, you know what I'm saying? We go back, and it's just, that's where we cut. That's where we sharpened our teeth, so to speak. And so I was glad that when the league kind of put together this SFLM, where all these coaches that want to show that they're able to do as well got a chance to prove it on the field, right? Prove it on the field, and continue to raise their game. So now when they get involved into the SFL, there's no training wheels. It's like, oh man, it worked here. So, you know, they have some kind of work ethic if they're successful here. So though it might not completely correlate, there's work ethic there for them to figure out what does and what doesn't. So that way, and that's one of the reasons why we're coming off our most competitive season ever, right? Every team was in it in the last week of the season. That was bananas, but it was great. But that also means there's no off weeks. There's no looking at the schedule and like, hey, I got 2 wins right here. Look what I'm playing, right? And that's not a thing anymore.
No.
So that's cool. That's as someone that loves competition, right? And blowouts are the worst. Like, as a broadcaster, blowouts are all kinds of terrible. As a viewer, blowing a team out, yeah, it feels good because it's a win, but there's no how can I say this? There is there's kind of a lack of excitement, right? Because y'all see me in the chats, that hashtag that lemon booty, like that fourth quarter, when the game is still on the line. You're up 2, you're down 6, and anybody could win it, right? Though it might shorten your life, and when you're involved in too many of those, it just that excitement there of not knowing is what makes football or competition great. And that's what makes the SFL even better, is when going into the 4th, it's anybody's game. Let's go. And that's what I like.
Yeah, me and Hacker talk about it all the time. Obviously you want to win. That's goal number 1. But you still want to be competitive. You definitely don't want to get blown out, and you definitely want to make sure that the viewer, the broadcaster, the random viewer, it's not even on your team, is watching the game and make sure that they are entertained. Obviously, this is entertainment. Whenever it comes to the league, it's entertainment, and we want to make sure everybody is happy with at least the product that's out there. And yeah, be competitive.
Yeah, that's what's up. So.
And I'd like to, if you don't mind, man, real quick on the SFLM point, dude. I think if you go back and look at season 1, season 2 of SFLM, I think that there was that gap. There was a gap in production from teams. And I think that as we've gone on, season 5 now, you nailed it. I mean, most competitive season ever. But I also think that everything that you said about giving people a chance to go there and learn instead of being thrown into the fire of the SFL, like some of us, Nacho and I, when we were coaching in Queen City, probably like yourself in season 7, you're thrown into the fire. And so a lot of your mistakes, fortunately, were, at those times we weren't on TV, it was YouTube and Twitch. We still had a lot of people viewing, watching and stuff, but it was very, there were times whenever teams had to learn in the game, right? Your coaching staff had to learn by putting it out there. And sometimes that's embarrassing, right? Or it can be embarrassing because maybe you weren't as prepared as you thought you were, or you weren't onto what you thought you were onto. And so the SFLM kind of reduces that, it gives them that opportunity where you don't have to feel so scared to be bold. You don't have to feel like, you're going to be outmatched. You're not going up against Mighty. You're not going up against, TJ in Baltimore and, T-Pat there or Ramos in Mexico City, Andy in Vancouver. I mean, there's so many great philosophy, schemes that these teams have. And I think if you put somebody out there with little to no experience, they're going to get boat raced. And so I think the SFLM is perfect. I'd love to see, like, in the SFLM, I'd like to challenge them to come up with some kind of, like, not necessarily scouting department, but I think that league, that affiliation needs to understand that a lot of the owners in the SFL cannot see what they're doing there. And I've heard that they don't want us to see it.
That's what I heard too.
But I would challenge them to, self-promote, like help you. If we can't get our own scouting reports, if we don't have the way to scout you, there needs to be some kind of scouting report out there, right? And so I would challenge that group of, hey, you guys are getting the coaching down. You guys are understanding what it means to be a player in this community or in this league. But there is a void here that if you talk to a lot of SFL owners, they will say, we don't know who is down there. And so I would say that there needs to be, whether that's, like I said, scouting departments or some kind of scouting report or just an SFLM show where they cycle through and they can highlight what they're interested in. I would love to have the ability to go and recruit people into stats and to recruit people into broadcasting, but I'm limited. I can't go there and do that. So there really needs to be somebody to champion that and figure out a way to get people visible in the next step into the pro league. And right now there's a huge gap there that I don't know how to solve it, but I would challenge an SFLM group or a player, somebody, figure it out and help us out, because, the owners are hungry for information. We want to know who the prospects are, who the players are, who's the next up and comer. So figure that out and help us, because it would be well received.
One of the workarounds, at least we found or figured out in Florida, is that we have a couple of our players, a handful now of our players are coaches or assistant coaches or scouts down there, which in turn they're able to kind of relay info. So when it's time to talk to rookies, right, we'll be like, hey, what you think of this rookie? What you think of that rookie? And because they have a little more sway, right, I could bring up a coach down there and be like, hey, I'm Max Paul, 3-time champ, da, 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 da. I never talked to you before. Tell me about this guy. It's like, oh, who are you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just though I'm a leader in this league, they don't know me from Adam. Why would they share?
Or
right?
are they
But,
are they a division rival? Are they going to give you trustworthy information that you can actually use, or are they just trying to get their guy drafted?
So no. So exactly. So it though I fully understand why they the guys down there don't want kind of like Big Brother, right? Like hey, y'all behave down there. Like I could understand that from their standpoint. At least until we find a more viable process, it definitely would behoove all the teams in the league to have one or two guys that are involved in some kind of minor league roles to be able to report back. That sounds like they snitching.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying, right? To shed light on the questions that we might have about certain players down there. If there'll be a fit. Is it worth my time to even reach out to said player and is what they're saying, does it match their behavior in the locker room, right? If it's congruent, okay, then let's go. First round, first pick. Let's do it. Like if it doesn't match, why does it match? Do we even want to burn any daylight and figure that out if it'll work, if it won't work, kind of deal like that. So while you were speaking to Hacker, I never do this, but I was on my phone because after you said being thrown into the fire, right, or to the wolves or to the deep
fire.
end, all of them there. My first game ever as a defensive coordinator. We had to face the Louisville. What was it? The Wildcats? Yeah,
I can't remember.
That was before my time.
I
thought Wolfpack, but that doesn't sound right.
There you go. The Louisville Wolfpack at their house. Remind you, Louisville as a franchise lost 3 games. Period.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the deep end for me. Yeah, go stop the cheat codes to Skeletor P-Funk and his running back and what was that? T. Kirkland. They had I can't remember his first name, but they had a cheat code. Like their whole team was a cheat code. Like they had before Big Sexy, they had a defensive tackle that was all world. Like he was a menace. So yes, that's not a task I put or want to or envy anyone to have. Yes, we lost that game. My defense gave up 40. So yes, I'm glad that's not a thing that we're kind of exposing young coaches to. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how you feel? Week 1, you're at Baltimore. Good luck, right? Here's the playbook and good luck, right? No, like nah. No,
yeah, we definitely don't want to demotivate anybody coming into the league, anything like that. We want you to have success.
Yeah, so definitely with that. On the way out, this has been fun. It's been good. On the way out the door, is there one thing that you wished the league did different? That if you were commissioner right now, Cam said, Lewis, here are the keys to the kingdom. Treat it well in my absence, right? Hacker, same deal. Robert, same deal. If you're commish, right, what's the first thing or the biggest thing that you will want to change, adjust, improve, whatever? Robert, go ahead. What you got?
Well, I feel like we might be on sync here, at least maybe me and Hacker, but I think the major thing to me, and I mean, it's probably going to stir up comments, whatever. I think that there should be some kind of player retirement system.
Or regression.
Right.
Which would ultimately lead to a retirement.
I think that there's some way that it could be done that maybe you could reward you based on your now retiring players' accolades.
Mm-hmm.
To where you don't have to start your player over at a base copper.
Kind of like a new game plus, right?
Yeah, basically. That way there's a reason to retire. You're still getting these points for a player. You're just going back and restarting because progression. Everybody says it. Once you get to that point, you're recycling the same animation season through season, and in a sense, it could seem kind of boring to some people.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you there. Now that has been in discussion for quite a while, and it's there's been some pushback from places. I fully understand both sides of the argument. I don't have a dog in this. You know what I'm saying? Like in this fight, I don't have a player, and when I have players, they last a season or two. I'm only filling a void because I can't find rookies to play those positions. So
can I ask why you don't have a player?
I'm not in it to see my avatar on the field performing plays, right? I got a team so I could kind of help direct and guide others and help them have an enjoyable and entertaining experience. So I don't need the player. Like my fun is like Robert said, is in the management things, trading, drafting, organizing, playbooks. Like to me, because football, I did not grow up with football. Like I got into football when I was a teen. Like in Canada, football is not the biggest thing. It's hockey and more hockey, right? So hockey was my thing. So my first really deep dive into football is '92. Cowboys are doing their thug dizzle. I'm watching the action on the field, and someone is explaining to me why they're moving in such a way, why the 11 guys on defense are doing what they're doing, why the 11 guys on offense are doing what they're doing. And I'm watching it unfold, and I'm like, bro, this is strategy for strategy. I like this. Now, mind you, I don't like tower defense games, right? But because that makes the same. But I love the strategy behind football because to me, it's like chess.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? The defense moves a piece here, the offense moves a piece there to kind of counter what the defense is doing, and that's what I liked about football going in. So whenever I like something, I do mad research, right? So I went back in the annals of where football started, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about prior to Paul Brown, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so Paul Brown comes in, the grandfather of the modern passing era, and then you have progression, then the A's come around. You got Don Cor, you got the Air Coryell from San Diego. You got your Bill Walsh, you control passing offense in San Fran. Like that's, and then you got, conversely, you got the defense. You got the boys in New York that kind of between Vince and the head coach for Dallas, Landry. Landry was the defense coordinator, right? So he created a stack 4-3 because he used to run a 5-2. And so basically he moved the nose guard off the center to the middle of the defense to be the middle linebacker. And so like stuff like that, I love that. I love football because of it. So now going back to why, so organizing and game planning and kind of seeing your hard work come to fruition come game day. Like that's what I like. Me being on the field, I don't give any, I could care less. Like I'd rather give the opportunity for everyone and anyone else to be on the field. Give me a chance to organize. You go ahead and execute. Life is good. Like I'm a coach. That's the easiest way to say it.
And I think that's what we found. Robert. Going back to Robert's wanting to a few of us here wanting to have regression or retirements. I think that's kind of where I noticed that line is. Max is that some of us feel that it's the management side, it's the strategy, game planning, recruiting players. Like that is the thrill for us. And some of the other ownership groups or owner players, they don't feel that way, and that's okay. We don't necessarily we don't want to try to force people in or out of retirement, but it's just something that for a long-term play. For me, I don't like that thought of recycling. I don't like that thought of keeping my player Stephen Hacker and just doing the same thing. I've been here 9-10 seasons or something, and it's like I'm kind of done with that.
You came in the league as pretty much a top wide receivers, top attributes, etc. And you just progress. You save for 5 odd weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is, and get an animation. save, animation, and it's just like they just rinse and repeat every season.
So yeah, my player progression, it's really only 3 times seasons that it really matters, all of them matter, don't get me wrong, but it's I get so much more enjoyment out of so many other things. And if there's, in the way I started, what really didn't sit right in my stomach was that if this doesn't mean that much to me, but it means something so much more to someone else, I'm robbing that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we first and foremost have to do what's best for Fort Worth, our players and our team. And so our team has felt like keeping Hacker on the field is the right move for us. But, we would like to try to do something different moving forward. But the right pieces have to be, again, it's earned in Fort Worth. Somebody, I'm not just going to say, oh, well, I don't want to be wide receiver 1. Let's just go give it to some. No, it's, you have to match what we like. You have to be a Toro, and so that means certain things. And it's just hard to get that point across to somebody whose players still mean something to them. Somebody like Eddie Gage, his players still mean something to him. Devon, DR Sim, his players still mean something to him. And I do not want to take that away from them. But the way I look at it is you could have this same ride. You could have that same experience that launched DR Sim or Eddie Gage into greatness. You could do that all over again. And yeah, maybe it's for your same team, but you could, in effect, you could create a window for somebody for 2 or 3 seasons to be the top dog by you restarting and having to build up your player and do all that stuff. You've essentially created an opportunity for somebody else who's been waiting and waiting and waiting for an opportunity. That's why I love expansion seasons. I love expansion seasons because people get these opportunities that they've been fighting for. They've been grinding it out. And then, now the landscape changes. And I love that. Again, for a long-term play, I love that because it's something different. It's something new. I have to learn something new, or I have to do something different than what I've been doing. And to get back on point, you had asked, if I was commissioner for a day or for a season or whatever, what would I change? I'm going to go really, really, really unfavorable here. But I would actually, if I had the keys, I would look at raising subscription prices. Me personally,
there's static. I think it's broadcast done.
But that's me personally, man. That's me again, from somebody that sacrifices time and energy and effort. I mean, I think about this league in my sleep. This is like my second home, man. And so when I'm here, I give it everything I have. And so whenever I see other people who make this league great, commish, deputy commissioner, Mike Daggs, Mark Lopez, Rochelle Cole, there's so many people, the mentors who've been doing, helping league staff. Connor Darien, when he was doing director, these are all people that care and that really try to deliver what we started this show on, which is, delivering an exciting product, caring about you as an individual and your team and highlighting those things, right? And it's so important to me that I feel like we deliver the best product across the board from any other sim league. We offer so much more than anyone else. Nobody's going to care like we care. Nobody's going to make sure that you're given the opportunity like we will. And we're like, because I never really looked. I was always just like, screw those guys. They're not as good as the SFL. Why am I even going to look at them? Why am I even going to look? But then I started going and looking at them and researching what they charge people, how they do things. And it's like, I feel like we're losing a little bit. I feel like, Commish puts in 50 plus hours a week here. He has a staff that puts in 20 plus, 30 plus hours a week. I don't think you're finding that anywhere else. You don't have the rich history, the database, the collected database of all-time records, all-time stats. And we have so much to offer that I don't feel like is anywhere else. And we have a very, very modest subscription cost, which I think is great. But if I was in that position, I would look at, okay, is this really what it should be? Because I have felt for a while, that's it's a value, it's a bargain for people. And not that I want to like dive into people's pockets, but I feel like that if it's a bargain, we're selling ourselves as a league short. And so market, like how we try to talk about player market, going out and getting a spot on a team, making your player value, how you set the market and do those things. Well, are we doing the same thing as a league? Are we truly charging what the cost is, to get this product? My opinion, no. Now, I trust that Cameron has done the work and done the research and says, no, this is a comfortable number. This is accurate. But my opinion, I would go and look at that. That would be the first thing I did.
Okay. And then Lewis, how about yourself? You're Commissioner Lewis, not Nacho. What you
I'm
got?
definitely not going to be as controversial. That was plenty controversial enough. But honestly, the main thing for me is having that big brother is terrible word for it and everything, but being able to see the SFLM, I think that's huge, because I mean, whenever it comes to building, whenever you're team building, you're building player relations. You're talking to the guys, you're learning about them, you're getting to know them. And whenever they get into your locker room, you got to make sure they mesh well. They make sure that they, all your guys are gonna talk okay. There's definitely a lot of ideologies out there that you definitely want to make sure that you're not going to blow up your team by drafting one different guy or whatever. I just think that's basically my main thing about it, is that the SFLM needs to be a little bit more open to the owners. We don't even have to chat with them. I just want to see. That's it. Even though it sounds terrible because it's Big Brother and all that good stuff, whatever you want to call it, but it definitely helps your aspect of team building, and seeing the guys in their own element, seeing them comfortable with each other. Once you start seeing, it's just like we were talking about earlier, whenever we get into Gen Chat and we talk to Harish, we talk to all these other guys, we have good repertoires. We talk to each other. It's comfortable, and we want to see them be comfortable as well, because once they're in the locker room, they like Hacker was saying earlier, whenever it comes to them being in an interview, they can just talk well. That's all it is. Anybody can be a very good interviewer, but whenever it comes to be the work, or not necessarily the work for a locker room, but whenever it comes to a locker room and the cohesion of that, it's very important.
Okay, that's what's up. That's it. All great answers. All great answers.
Except for Hackers.
No, Hackers was good too.
I love having unpopular opinions. I love it. I love it when people hate my opinions, because that means that it struck a chord. And if you hate it, fine, fine. But maybe you'll think about it for a second, and that's what I try to do when I have an unpopular opinion. I try not to just base it on grasping at straws. I try to really look at it, and if people don't like it, so be it, fine. But at least we can open a door to have a discussion. That's a lot of, when I have an unpopular opinion, that's generally what I want, is I just want to have a discussion. And, I may be saying something and I'm really bad at it. Again, we play good cop, bad cop with people sometimes.
I know.
I will say stuff just to get people talking. I want to see, okay, are you full of crap? Or do you actually know what you're talking about here? Or by asking a question, does it spark a conversation that might actually need to happen, right? And so it's not always that I'm trying to be a bad guy or an a-hole. It's just sometimes, I don't like when everybody agrees. I hate that. I get it. Sometimes it's a great idea and everybody just needs to get on board, right? But I hate when everybody's just like, yeah, oh, this is the only way. This is the best way. This is the only way. It's like, no, man, I've done too much stuff in my life to know that there's more than one way. And like you said earlier, skin a cat, there's more than one way to do things, right? So if you just try to focus on it's only this, it's only that, well, then you miss opportunities, in my opinion. So I like to, sometimes force uncomfortable discussions just to get people to talk, right? Because being an online community, you don't always get these face-to-face or VIP, VOIPs or whatever. It's people can hide. And so sometimes I keep track of what people say, so it's not to like throw it back on them. It's just like, are they learning, or are they changing their opinion?
Gotcha.
Are they a wishy-washy person? I mean, what are they doing? And so I genuinely try to do that because I care. I care about everyone here. I care about everybody in the SFL, even the people that I don't get along with. I still care that they have a good day, that their time in the SFL is great. And so if I don't feel like I get along with somebody, I avoid them. But it's also one of the things that I still need a way to get their opinion on something. So sometimes I have to like shoot for the moon, and get people to react, even if it's in a negative way, because I want that. I want to see how you feel. I want to know how you feel. So I feel like I'm in a privileged position that I can do something about it. And so like, that's why I look for information. I fish for it to see how people really feel about stuff, so that if I see an opportunity to make change or get change initiated, I'm going to figure out a way to do that. So that's a lot of why I do what I do in that regard.
Okay, no, that's cool. You're the devil's advocate. I know we've had that discussion before. So yes. Now we've come to the part of the show where the interviewers become the interviewee, and the interviewees become the interviewers. So y'all got questions for me? I'm right here. What y'all got? Well, it's kind of quiet.
I would like to flip the commissioner question onto you.
What? What, me?
Yeah. What would you do if you were commissioner for a day? What would you look at?
You know what? You put me on the spot, because like
you put us on the spot. You put us.
I wasn't prepared for this. Like,
we weren't. What are you talking? We weren't either, man. Come on.
I'm just saying, like, I don't get asked questions like the in-depth questions. Like, what is the meaning of life? I don't know.
We weren't prepared.
But yeah, it's, how can I say this? Is helping or attempting to help every team become viable financially off the field. Now we've been provided with some tools, but I don't know about you. I've never gone to school for marketing. I don't know how to market, right? So when I approach businesses, local businesses, or even online businesses with, hey, I'm the owner of this football team that plays games on the interwebs, not on real grass. Would you like to partner up? And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not accustomed to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my thing. Though I'm in the sales, I sell truck parts for a living. I don't know how to sell this, right?
Yeah, so it's like a cold call. You have no lead. You have there's no interest from, yes. There's interest from our party, from us to them, there is interest, but to them, to us, there is zero interest.
It's worse than a cold call, Hacker, because on a cold call, at least I know, we know the product we have. It's selling the product we have properly, right? We don't have a script, right? There's no track to, well, I'm part of the Simulation Football League that's been established in 20, we don't have a script to, and then, again, though I'm in sales, I'm not into those kind of sales where understanding how to pivot to, you know what I'm saying, to make yourself look better in certain lights, depending on the question or the juxtaposition that you have to what they, you know what I'm saying? Like, because as the business owner, you've gotten cold calls from others before. So now we're just one in the long line of others. And now how do we play the angle to kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do that. So if you ask as a commission, I would, that's what my thing would be. Like, to at least, I can't sell it for you, but at least I could give you the tools and certain keys to look for, to kind of, mind you, Kevin and I have had many a discussion about how to do so for me. And I've taken some and I fell flat on my face many times, and I'm still working on it, right? But I don't know if that conversation has been had with other ownership groups in the league. And that's one thing that I would want to make available, so that way everyone has a chance, right? I'm big into, what's the saying? I'm big into giving everybody equal opportunity, right? But the outcome's all on you, but I would want to make sure everyone has a chance. And that's what I would want to do as a commissioner, to make sure everyone has a fighting chance. Whether you win or lose, that's on you. But I want to make sure everyone has a fighting chance, so I'll provide you with all the tools necessary or required for you to be able to do so.
Very selfless of you.
It's like Cam always says, right? The tide floats all boats, right? So
exactly.
Now, if y'all are able to find 2, 3, 4, 5, how many of us government sponsors, and now the Toros are send the standard for the league, I'm gonna call y'all up. Hey, how did y'all do this? Oh, but no problem. This how we did is because now y'all are ahead and y'all are all mature enough to understand that there's more than enough for everybody to eat. So you're not being stingy with the info because you want to make sure the Stormers is good. Because if the Storm are good and y'all are good, guess who's good too? The league is good.
We're all eating. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So
we have that mentality whenever it comes to building people up. You know, if you're successful, I'm successful, and that's what we're all here for.
Happy.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Bro, I'm in my 40s now, bro. I want to make sure everyone gets their flowers. Everybody, if you've earned it, right? Earned. If you earned it, you deserve it. I'm gonna give you your flowers. Now, I don't know what kind of flowers, tulips, roses, whatever, chrysanthemums, whatever you like. I'm gonna make sure you get yours. So I hope that answered your question that you had, Hacker.
That's a good one.
So
yes, sir. Perfect.
Let me ask you a question. How did you just said you're from Canada? How did you come from Canada to Florida?
I retired early. No, not really.
No, sure.
It
didn't sound like it.
No. It's a thing I've been using because a lot of my, national brethren tend to migrate this direction in their older ages to enjoy the weather because Montreal gets a little chilly in the winter. You know what I'm saying? That chill get in your bones. They're like, oh Lord, it's cold and there's no amount of clothing that can warm me up. So I came quite a bit earlier this way, and I've been here since '93. So
wow.
So basically, the year after I got into football, I got dropped here, and I'm like, I refuse to be a Dolphin fan. So there you go.
Good for you. Proud of it. Yeah. Have you watched Shoresy? Do you watch Shoresy? Do you know what that is?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, that's on it's on Hulu. But yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
It's about hockey. It's the Letterkenny get people, but they do hockey instead of Letterkenny stuff. Sorry, it's Shoresy. It's if you have Hulu, go check out Shoresy. I think if you're from Canada, I think it would. I think you would relate to a lot of what they talk about.
Shoresy on Hulu. I'll go check it out.
Shoresy. Yep.
I'll go check it out. Robert, you got any questions for me?
Yeah. I guess headed into the season, just curious what your thoughts would be on the toughest and easiest division this season.
I just remembered the second part of my question. Hold that. Speaking of divisions, were there any changes to your division, or were you one of the only divisions that no changes whatsoever?
No, we still got the same three guys, or same four.
Same four. I know, because I think I got to face y'all this season. So yes, it is the same four now. Okay, so we'll throw that away. Never mind. Back to what you were saying. What do you mean, Robert, by the easy? I wouldn't quantify any divisions that's easy, especially now since after we just discussed how competitive the league is. I did say, I think during that first podcast of this season, someone asked me, the second. The one with St. Louis. The second one with St. Louis, they asked me that question. I'm like, I think that West with Denver, Vegas, that one's going to be one of the most, that's going to be a bloodbath with who's going to wind up on top of that one. Because all of them last season went less than preferred. And they all have something to prove. You got Denver. We all know how marquee that Denver Nightwings brand is.
And Jeremy's back.
That's what I'm saying. Jeremy is not gonna let Denver's name just be, you know what I'm saying? And we know how prideful Eddie is. And the fact that the Scorpions missed the playoffs, he's not resting to, you know what I'm saying? He's not, no, man. Every day I thought to Eddie, man, I need that championship. I want that championship, right? So, and I know the Vegas boys, John Bond and Merrick Itero over there, they, you know what I'm saying? They're not resting, right? So, and I know Optimus and my boy, you know what I'm saying? My boy Optimus over in San Diego, like that division is gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna come down to the wire about who wins that one. Do I have a favorite? I am not saying, but you asked me for which one, and I truly, but that Western one, I believe, is going to be it might be one of the few divisions, if any, that maybe 5 and 7 is the bottom, which would be great. That's how highly I think of all 4 teams that are out West, because and the fact that they all have something to prove. San Diego started out hot last season. We thought, they you know what I'm saying? They fixed it, they found it, and then they kind of fizzled out at the end. And I know they want to show that they want the fluke, right? That hot start. So
well, I don't want to correct you on your own show, but Sioux Falls instead of San Diego. Yeah.
Okay. Same deal.
Unless they moved, but that's what I'm seeing.
No. You're good. You're good. Okay. Out west?
Yeah, that's what it says. West, Sioux Falls, Vegas, Arizona. But this might be last season. I don't know. Maybe they reshuffled.
I thought the West was San Diego, Denver, Arizona, and Las Vegas. The Pacific was Seattle, Vancouver, Portland,
and LA.
LA, correct.
Yeah.
So the reshuffle messed things up for me. Gotcha.
So
can y'all see these? No,
there you are.
You can't see.
Nah.
No. Okay. So, but yeah. So, the Pacific is Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, LA.
Okay.
Which I don't want to lead you into anything, but so Robert said the easiest. I think the politically correct way to say that would be least competitive.
Oh,
you have a feeling of least competitive, which I mean, we're right there at Pacific, which I would say Pacific to me is going to be the least competitive.
I think Vancouver's going to run the table there.
Least competitive, correct.
I mean, LA missed the playoffs for the first time last season, so
yeah.
So
I think they're a wild card team.
I'm not. You know what I'm saying? LA had a down season. Prior to that, LA was competitive. You know what I'm saying? The 2 seasons prior, the two. Yeah, even with the bad start, when they kind of had a coaching change mid-season, they were able to kind of make that up and kind of get on a hot streak and make the playoffs. So I'm not going to give I can't. There's no division I could see there's a runaway, especially now the way they're balanced out now. Bro, these are balanced. Like the North, you got Canton, London, Motor City, Queen City. Like I know Queen City is kind of wants to, last season was an aberration and they want to show that, you know what I'm saying? They're still the cream of the crop. London, first time in the playoff last year. Like you got the East is us, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Louisiana. That's another one that's going to be a bloodbath. That's rough. Baltimore, Carolina, Charleston, DC, 3 of those 4 made the playoffs, right? You know what I'm saying? Like there's no division I'd be like, oh yeah, for sure. They're going undefeated. They're running like not the way the coaching is now. Maybe when y'all boy jumped in there season 10, like, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Baltimore's running things, right? But not now. Not now.
Well, back then it was Alaska running things. But
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so I do not recall.
So the North sounds pretty open to me. And by open, again, I non-competitive sounds really harsh, and that's not really what I mean. But I would think that the North, regardless of who wins that division, is going to have a really tough time against a lot of the other opponents. Knowing what I know about Queen City turning over a lot, having to bring in. I think I saw Tom today say that they were going to have to draft 6 to 8 rookies.
They got Bruin though, so
that's fine. Yeah, again,
they're at least not. Yeah, they're at least not having to deal with and it sounds bad to say, but a rookie QB that's going to be top Max Silver-ish.
Yeah,
that's going to be rough.
Yeah, definitely.
And they still got Jet Zero there. I think Deezer Powell stayed with them. So I mean, they still have James Matthew Jr. is a beast tight end.
Yes, he is.
So they still got some pieces there. But yeah, I don't mean it in any kind of negative light. I was actually going to touch on all 4 teams. Pause. But it's just one of those things that I feel like that would be a really tough division. I think there was a lot of change in that division specifically.
Big time.
But when I look at the Pacific, it's to me, Pacific is all Vancouver. It's theirs to lose. And I know LA is competitive. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but again, in my mind, they're going to be a wild card team. Because of Vancouver, in my opinion, is going to remain as good as they have been. So it's just one of those things. When I kind of look at the Pacific, I don't necessarily look for Portland or Seattle to make a big push right away. I'm not saying that they can't win ball games, don't mean that, but at all. I'm just saying that when I look at the landscape of how that division as a whole, I feel like a lot of the other ones are very, like you were saying about the East, you know, with you guys, Louisiana, Jacksonville, that's a very competitive. It feels competitive. It's hard to figure out the pecking order of how those teams are exactly going to finish. I know probably based on the chatter that I've been hearing, everybody's picking Fort Worth to finish last in the South. Fine, whatever. But if you look at how those games play out, it's never like, oh, that's a for sure win.
Not with that defense y'all got. You know what I'm saying?
Well, just any team in the South. I mean, you could look at Houston. Houston is historically, in my opinion, Houston has always been a team that wins ball games they shouldn't win, and they lose ball games they shouldn't lose. So like, it's kind of weird. Like as soon as you underestimate Houston, they win the game. As soon as Houston's hot, oh, they're going to make a push to the playoffs, they lose, right? That's just kind of how Houston historically works. Now, of course, they've got some changes going into their team, but I don't feel like they're a team you can count out any given week. Lone Star just made it to the championship. Not a team you can count out, and everybody knows what Ramos is, a team you can't count out. So I feel like the South, even if you want to try to say we're last place, we're still an extremely competitive team. We're not going to make your work easy. You're going to have to work to beat any team in the South. And so when I look at some of the other divisions, I don't know that I can say that top to bottom. And so that's where I look at like least competitive, that's how I'm looking at it.
Okay. I got you. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see you week 2, Mighty.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Week 2, man.
I don't like, I saw the schedule and I saw our first opponent. And whenever I look at schedules, I don't look past the first opponent.
Yeah. That's all we're doing right now.
So like, I got a bunch of guys that hit me up like, oh yeah, see you week 4, see you week 8. They're like, what? Huh? Bro, we're focused on the draft. Like, I didn't even know I'll see you when I see you. So yeah, it's man, this season's gonna be fun. I love the divisions. I love our division the best because I've been asking for those 4 to be in there because of just I could literally jump in my vehicle right now and drive to all those locations within a day. Like it only made sense when we first once Louisiana came in to be like, bro, Louisiana should be right with us. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're the state next door. Every time, so I'll miss my Brown Prince, Harish and you know what I'm saying, and I'll miss Charleston. Though they swept us last season, I don't appreciate that at all. But we'll have to make it up. We'll have to make it out, in our next contest, be it playoffs or maybe we play their division next season or whatnot. But I'm loving having Mark Chisholm and the Swarm, you know what I'm saying, BD3 and BDG, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm loving Louisiana, and Gerald and Ross over there, and it's gonna be fun. Man, this season's gonna be a ball. I can't wait to see what these competitions look like. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even focused on the early part, mid to late, because that's when the cream rises to the top. Mid to late, I can't wait to see what that looks like. So, gentlemen, y'all have any more questions? We're good. Awesome. So we're gonna wrap. We're gonna put a bow on this bad boy for minority owner Robert Garrett Jr. When he retires, it's going to be Junior Garrett Robert. That's a different story. For co-owner, the hacker, my dog. And for other co-owner, Luis Not Nacho Gonzalez. I am Max Paul. And we're done.
Thanks for having us.
Always a pleasure for the fellas. Always a pleasure.